So guys, we are back on the German converted sandbar van project. We finally got our parts in from Japan. Now, I had not planned on doing a video on the time belt water pump, all the services we're gonna do to this, because I've already made at least 2, possibly 3 videos in the past on time belt service on the EN07 engine and the tune-up and everything else that we're gonna do to it. But yesterday when I got into it and pulled the timing belt covers off, what I saw made me stop, put everything down, and decide that this needs to go on a YouTube video, because what I found under that timing cover was pretty horrendous. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into it and take a look at what I found. So guys, without further ado, this is what I found when I got the timing belt cover off of this little sandbar, and it is a train wreck in here. That you see is timing belt. That is ground shaved timing belt chunks all inside of this timing belt cover. You can see all the little fibers of that belt. And you might be wondering, well, what is that in the corner, the lower corner of this timing belt cover? Well, that, my friends, as far as I can deduce, is the spring from the timing belt tensioner. Looks like it broke and got loose and flopped around inside this timing cover that's pretty tight, went around the bottom and wound up right here, wedged between the crank sprocket and the timing cover, and that is what shaved a big, deep groove in the center of this timing belt and made this big mess inside the cover. Now, this is actually partially embedded in this cover. It doesn't look like it went quite all the way through, so you should be able to take out the plastic welder and fill that spot in, smooth it over, pull that spring out, and trash it. I'm pretty sure I have another spring. I don't know if I ordered a new one. Normally, it's not something that's replaced, and I don't believe it's something that normally comes with the tensioner, but hopefully I have one. If not, this project might be put on pause a little bit longer. But yeah, that is bad. And honestly, it was a lot worse. It honestly was when I took it apart. I literally gasped because I thought this was gonna be another routine, just timing belt water pump job, do the spark plugs, do the distributor cap, do the tune-up, axle seals, engine mounts, all the normal stuff that these little vans and trucks need when they get to the US from Japan. But man, it is a wreck in here. It's going to take a lot of brake parts cleaner to clean up all of this mess in here. Now, there was another issue I found, and I'll show you right now, and that is the customer had complained that it was sporadically run warm, run hot on him. Well, I think I found out why that happened as well, because this water pump is pretty tight. It's pretty seized up and doesn't want to turn really easily. So with this belt being partially melted, it looks like, on the outer corner from heat, and then the center of it dug out by that spring, I think a lot of it was skidding across this water pump pulley instead of turning it, and caused the overheating and some temperature spikes. So hopefully it doesn't have a cooked head gasket. Hopefully it was just some sporadic spikes in temperature and it didn't get too hot to cook itself. But I took loose the bolt for the tensioner. You guys have already seen this job multiple times at this point. You know, we got to line up the crank, line up the cam back there with the dot. So I'm not going to do a whole step-by-step on this again, because again, like I said, 2, maybe 3 videos on doing these step-by-step. But this belt was really loose already. Again, the tensioner's just kind of back here. I don't know if the tensioner seized up too or not. But we can just go ahead and pull this belt off of here, and now that you've seen it, and we can get a better look at that timing belt. And as you can see, that outer edge is burnt, and that center is eaten up, and the other edge is burnt and skin up. So this thing was holding on by a thread. He's lucky that it made it this far. Now, these are a non-interference engine, so had the belt snapped, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, other than the fact that he couldn't run the car, run the engine anymore. But yeah, as you can see, there's just fluffs and tufts of timing belt everywhere in here. So it's gonna be a major cleanup job. It looks like the tensioner is still in good shape and turning. So I don't honestly know what happened in here, what the failure was. Either they didn't put the spring in there right when they changed the belt last and it fell out, or the spring was just overworked and it broke and fell in here. Really hard to say, but I'm going to go ahead and get to work, get this cleaned up, get everything replaced, get a new crank seal, new cam seal, all that in here, and I will bring you back to see the results of it. And maybe we'll go ahead and pull the spark plugs, pull the distributor, cap, all that good stuff, start on that. As we can see, this engine mount is pretty much done for. We got a new one of those. So looks like it's time to get to work on this thing, get it cleaned up, and get it back on the road. All right, guys, so much later in the day, and it's a whole new world under here. We got our brand new water pump, all our new side seals, our new time belt, new tensioner. Everything's cleaned up. New cam seal, new crank seal, clean up the outside of the oil pump here, new belt. Just need to get that missing tensioner spring. Now, in all honesty, I probably could put my finger up here, tension this belt, and go by feel and put that bolt, torque it to spec, and I would be okay. But in all honesty, I just want to have that spring in there. I want it the way it should be from the factory. Again, I don't think it has any bearing really once the torque is set and the bolt is tight, but I want to put it back in there because it should be in there kind of deal. So I guess I'm going to go and hit up japanparts.com or amiyama.com once again to import the parts for this little sandbar van. I've done videos in the past on them for those of you that have K vehicles here in the US and are looking for parts, genuine parts. Amiyama and Japan Parts are the place to go. I tend to order more through Amiyama than Japan Parts, but I've ordered from both and got good service and good pricing from both. But if you're here in the USA, of course, working on your own Subaru, you can always get your parts at the best deal at SubaruPartsDeals.com. Check out SubaruPartsDeals.com, your online retailer for genuine Subaru parts. Easy to navigate website. You can search by model, year, and trim, or you can simply type in your VIN number to easily find the parts you need for your Subaru. Or you can shoot them a call or an email, and their staff will be glad to help you figure out what parts you need for your DIY Subaru repair projects. As a big thanks to you viewers, SubaruPartsDeals.com has offered up a promo code Mr. Subaru in all caps, good for 15% off shipping of your order. SubaruPartsDeals.com, a Subaru genuine certified seller of parts for your Subaru vehicle. Anytime you get ready to do any repair on your Subaru, check them out, price them out. They got some of the best prices out there on Subaru genuine parts. So we're kind of running out of light right now. I think I'm going to leave this as it sits, and we're probably going to go pull the spark plugs out, take a look at the plugs, the wires, and go ahead and do the electrical tune-up part of this service. So guys, we got all 4 spark plugs out of this little EN07, and they're wet with fuel. I can smell it. You can see they're on there. They don't look that old or worn, so we probably need a carburetor rebuild on this little sandbar. We're probably got a leaking jet, or the floats, you know, and the needle aren't seating, and we got a little bit extra fuel dumping in there. But we got a brand new set of spark plugs. We're going to throw them in. And then we got a new set of spark plug wires, a new distributor cap, rotor button, all that to go in there for our electrical tune-up. And we're going to be putting a new cam cover gasket on here, doing a valve adjustment and cleaning this up. We got the timing belt all back together. Honestly, don't need the spring. It's discontinued. It's just there to tension it. I just tensioned it by feel and by sight and torque the tensioner bolt, and it's all good to go. Cover's back on. So we need to torque the crank bolt, replace the thermostat, put the belt back on, and finish this electrical tune-up and put the coolant back in it, and we should be done, other than that carb rebuild, which I'm going to have to outsource because I don't have the stuff to do a carb rebuild on the EN07. So looks like we're pretty much done on this little sandbar. I know we didn't do a lot in this video, a lot of hands-on, a lot of showing you the repair. We've done these repairs in the past, so I didn't want to bore you again with that. If you need to see that kind of stuff, I'll try to link in the description below all the individual how-to videos with torque specs and all that step-by-step on this. But I really just wanted to show you how bad that timing was on this thing and how bad all that was tore up with the timing belt and the tensioner and all that in there, and just all that carnage, because it was a bad one, to say the least. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one.